He founded a marketing company called Wake Up Pueblo.
Yeah.
I liked that. The name is a call to action. So I wanted something like that without ripping it off. So Be Loud came to mind. You got to be loud for people to know you. If they don't know you, like you said, they can't
Right.
Yeah.
The Collaborative Entrepreneur.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Collaborative Entrepreneur. We are the show where we want to build partnerships that help grow our business. And who is it that you know, or you'd like to know better, that you know by knowing that person, they could add something, another layer to the onion, as it were, or they could add something that you're missing to your business. That's why this show exists. It exists. It's called the Collaborative Entrepreneur because an entrepreneur is just somebody that I believe is willing to take more than normal risk to bring what they have in their heart, to bring something forward that they know is going to help other people. But collaboration, for me, is so critical between entrepreneurs because they have something on their journey that they've learned that they can help me and maybe prevent. I can avoid something by learning from their story, or I could follow the same path that they took and they're leaving little breadcrumbs for me to follow because I believe that success leaves clues. So having a podcast like this is meant to help you. And so if you've ever wanted to delve into the mind of somebody that you look at their life and you say, man, I think that person is going someplace, or there's just something interesting about them. I'm kind of drawn to that person to find out what they've got going on in their life. If that's you, you have come to the right place on the Collaborative Entrepreneur, because that's what we do here. Peter Drucker said, when you see a successful business, you've got to realize that someone once made a courageous decision. Think about that. You find a successful business somewhere, someday, someone made a very brave decision. And this show exists to highlight those brave men and women who made a choice to launch a business. My guest today is a highly qualified professional with a background in both business education and in military service, and I can't wait to highlight that part. He holds a marketing degree, and he's also a 10X certified coach through sales expert Grant Cardone. He offers 13 years of military background as well as health insurance agent. In fact, he sold over $15.3 million in annual policies in just under 2 years, which is incredible. No doubt we're going to take a deep dive in his sales strategies that he's learned through Grant Cardone and just on his own. His goal in his business is to empower entrepreneurs just like you that are watching this call by teaching them how to implement systems that grow their business, increase their revenue, and break through what's called obscurity. That's the number one enemy of anybody, is you got to break through. If they don't know you, they can't blow you, right? Our conversation will take no doubt a look into his story, what motivates him in business, and the wins and the learns he's gained along the way, what he's currently working on today, what he wants to work on in the future. And I know that he's going to share some valuable insights and some lessons from his life that he's learned on his entrepreneurial journey that will help you in yours. So if you don't have one already, get yourself maybe I'm using a Remarkable. You use your notebook or a pen, get yourself a coffee, some hot tea, and get ready to hear some gold from our guest, David Dodge. David, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you.
So glad to have you here. Now, you got to give us first. There's just so many cool things. The cool twists and turns that I'm hearing right now is it's just I understand you're a native Floridian. And then going into the military, spending 13 years there, you've got the insurance side of things, and then what you do right now is growing your business. So there's so many twists, there's so many turns here that you're taking here. So start us out where in the beginning, lead us up to where you are right now. Give us the bio sketch.
All right. So, hey, I guess it all started when I was 17. Let's go from there.
All right, let's do it.
And I joined at 17 after my junior year. I did the split option in the high school. And my recruiter at the time literally asked me if, hey, you want to kick down doors? You want to blow stuff up? $2,000?
Right.
That's how that went. And I went through basic training. I thought I was the coolest kid ever, but I really was never, ever the coolest kid ever. Because I had been through basic training and going through high school. And then I finished my split option training right after high school. So I kind of had to do basic twice.
Wow.
Which was kind of an experience. Everybody appreciates their time in basic training for sure, but nobody really wants to do it twice. For real.
No doubt.
But yeah, I decided to join the infantry, mainly because, well, that's what my recruiter sold me, and well, recruiter, it's all about sales, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely
Kind
right.
of dirty of things. Recruiting is sales, marketing, the whole gamut. So that was kind of like the start of everything. But when I was in the Guard, so that was the real kicker though. And the whole idea was to go active duty in the future. Of course, my recruiter told me you can go active duty in the future.
Yeah.
But I kind of got stuck in the retail world first. After high school, I got into the public supermarkets. Great place. Working's a pressure, but shopping's a pleasure.
Yeah.
I got stuck with that. I guess the need to work, the need to get hours to pay my bills. Being in the Guard, yeah, I get my weekend warrior check. It wasn't enough to really pay for anything, gas at most. And actually, around that time is when the housing market started crashing. So all the prices like were $4 a gallon for gas. I just got my F-150s in '97. It's just a gasaholic. It was just painful. So I worked at Publix, and I spent 3 years busting my butt so hard to try to get promoted, and it just was never happening for whatever reason. Fast forward about 3 years from there, I got diagnosed as ADHD, so that was probably the reason. But yeah, I couldn't get promoted for the life of me.
Yeah.
And then I got into my first deployment in 2010 to Iraq and Kuwait.
Wow.
So from there, I got my first taste of real army, the first taste of, I might die. Going to pump plays every other day, almost getting blown up. It was, was not the most dangerous deployment, but it was like a eye-opener. For sure, because it was a lot about complacency. Because everything was calm, but too calm. It's like, because we never saw anything, we'd get lazy. And complacency is a killer. And actually, complacency plays a huge game in sales as well. So, a good lesson learned actually for that.
Yeah.
I did return back alive. And in 2011, I continued back in Publix, so I was still trapped. And it's funny because all the excuses they gave me of why they couldn't promote me were kind of BS, because I came back and other people got promoted, because they were saying, oh, we're on a hiring freeze, we're on a raise freeze, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
So it was all me. I just sucked. And I had just recently gotten diagnosed with ADHD, so that's probably the core of most problems I had in my life. But I couldn't make it again. I tried my hardest at Publix for a whole year, and I said, screw it, I'm going to volunteer for another deployment. So I went to Afghanistan this time.
Yeah.
Things got pretty real. And I was with an engineering company. So it was slightly different. The mission was different, but I was still infantry. They're like, oh, this guy, he knows how to use the guns. All right, we just know how to fix things. So they always put me on security details. Well, when I got back, that's where things changed. That was the beginning of me being tired of this retail trap that I was in. But I was still, and tried my hardest yet again to get promoted for the third time. So I took a different route, and I said, let me be a recruiter. Let me go active duty, become a recruiter. And we did, and I did. I was on my way. I passed the board with flying colors. They loved me and everything. And then a nasty government shutdown.
Yeah.
Nasty government. It was shut down for like a month almost. And I was something called ADOS, which is temporary active duty.
Okay.
had earned my place, if you will. It's like an internship.
Uh-huh.
And that entire time, the month that the government shutdown reset everything. It's like I was never even in the recruiting process. So I had to reapply. And by the time I reapplied, my position got taken. And I'm thinking, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
So went to college. Now I can't become a recruiter because various reasons. I mean, let me just bite the bullet, become an EMT, because that's what my infantry allows me to be, firefighter of some sort. Hated it. Hated every second of it.
Yeah.
And just wasted that time with my GI Bill. That was, if I could take that back, I sure would. But that turned into my third deployment. When I got back, and I went to Africa in Djibouti. This was when everything changed. I spoke with one of my lieutenants, and he kind of gave me a mental blow whooping. He's like, man, all these excuses you're giving, it's literally it's just excuses. And, nobody wants to hear that. It sucks. But he's right. I've been kind of worried about this Publix thing, thinking small even. And I got back, and I really wanted to make some changes. So I went on Indeed, and I looked at different things. The very first thing I picked up was a solar position, selling solar panels. I knew nothing about solar. So I did that for maybe 2 months, and it just wasn't for me. I thought the whole company was scammy. They're no longer in business today, so maybe it was. Not sure. And that led to wholesaling houses, which led to Grant Cardone.
Yeah, right.
So I started wholesaling houses and got introduced to Grant Cardone, fell in love with Grant Cardone. And I got his book, Close Your Survival Guide. And I remember I bought a whole bunch of flashcards with this too. I was so interested in this. It was like a science to me. I got a whole bunch of flashcards, and I wrote down every close that he said and then my version of it to help close, whatever deal it could be. And I started consuming whatever I could from Grant Cardone until I purchased a program called the Closer 7. Man, it's my favorite one too, and I can't remember the name. It's the program where he closes. He sets up the formula for closing. I'll think about it in a second.
Yeah.
And I went all in on that. For me, all in was maxing out a credit card at $9.97.
Yeah.
But I did, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
So it put confidence in me. It really, maybe it wasn't the program, but maybe it was the investment I made in myself.
Yeah.
Was probably that placebo effect, I think, was more powerful than the actual program. But the taking that information and thinking a little bit bigger, hey, I can be a realtor, right? And I can use this and actually close some houses. So I want to get my real estate license. Somehow I got tangled up in the insurance world too, and they recruited me. They said, hey, you can get your insurance license. So I studied both at the same time, and I took both tests 2 days within each other, two days apart from each other.
Wow.
And it's funny because I had a date with my to-be wife the day that I passed my insurance exam. And, I've been doing all the studying, and, I was really elated. I had both licenses in my hands. I got an awesome date with my to-be wife to Metallica that day.
What?
Yeah.
What tour?
I forget which one. It was a small one though. But that's where it all started, and I threw all the insurance stuff out. I threw all the real estate stuff out. The thing that I was working towards. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go insurance.
Yeah. Wow.
Like you said, entrepreneurs, they kind of they don't want to be bound by scripts, right?
Yeah. There's no rules. We're trying to get something done.
So and I killed it. I did very well with insurance. And you said under 2 years. It was actually under 3 years, so maybe my bio was wrong. But when I sold that $15 million in a 3-year program, about $3.5 million was my own personal lines of issued business.
Wow.
And that's issued, not sold, actually.
Mhm.
So once you sell it, it still has to get issued. And then I got promoted very quickly. And within my first 6 months, I was a leader. Within the first 9 months, I got promoted to another leader position, and I had over 28 agents under my belt.
Mhm.
And that's how, under the whole gamut of things, that 15 million came across for me, training my agents, nurturing them, investing in them, and taking that to heart. And I was like, this is my calling.
Mhm.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I ended up here because, well, I was about to get divorced, and I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I was spending too much time. I was driving every day from Ocala to Orlando, so that's on a good day, a 1 hour, 15-minute drive one way.
Yeah. Right.
And I would leave the house at 8, and I would leave the office at 11. So there was no time for family ever. 6 days a week, and I wanted to scale back. It was too much on the family. It was getting too much on myself. I was making a ton of money. Within a year, I broke my first 6-digit 1099.
Wow.
Which is insane. But I said I want to give some back to the family. I want to work my local network. Let's try something different, because I cold call. Cold calling makes money, but as soon as you stop, the money stops.
Yeah.
And I did. So I scaled back. 2 months later, COVID hit. There goes the local networking market.
Wow.
So I found myself, well, man, no matter what I try, the only thing that did work was me going and just doing it. Funny enough, though, I got TikTok famous short after that. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Of all things in the world, I got TikTok famous for cutting open toys and putting stuff inside of them. And it was the stupidest thing ever. Within about 8 months, I had 1 million followers.
My goodness.
And I was getting brand sponsorships, and it was like a whole new life, a whole new opportunity. And I saw my wife hated every second of it, by the way. And she's like, "Why don't you get a real job?" But I could see that. I'm just making videos of me cutting open these toys and stuffing things inside their heads and putting it back together and just cutting it open back on TikTok and getting millions of views. My highest viewed videos over 24.5 million. And
my goodness.
I had fun, a lot of fun doing it. But it wasn't making money to keep me afloat. And my insurance premiums that I was still getting paid, well, they're dwindling. I was making pretty good money at first. But every open enrollment comes, a lot of people shift off, right?
Yeah.
So I thought I'd take life a little more serious, and I went back to college to be an attorney. Change the routes again.
Wow.
So I went to get my business degree because they want any degree. And so I did business, and I took some marketing courses in that degree, and that's the marketing experience that the formal marketing experience that I learned. So when I finished my 4 years, and I did it all in 2 years. So when I finished, I had this limbo between, out of school and going to law school. And I was studying for the LSAT, which I failed, by the way. The LSAT is no joke.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I still have a year before law school begins, so I can study for the LSAT some more, and I can get, an interim job in between them. So I went to this marketing company because I was like, hey, let me help people go viral on TikTok. Because since I got that 1 million follower account, I've made multiple 5-digit accounts before in the past. I have 30,000, another 60,000. I got over 60,000 on YouTube even.
Wow.
So new growth. So I wanted to help people do that. And working with this marketing company is where the today David comes from. I learned that there's a lot of people who like to scam people. They're not upfront. They're not transparent.
Yeah.
I learned that what you pay for is highly inflated and overpromised, underdelivered for the most part. Doesn't mean it all is like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all, and I wanted to change some things. So I figured I would start a side business, and I became a Grant Cardone licensee, and waiting for law school even. And I wanted to do this marketing thing because I went through the marketing done for you program, loved it, and I think it's an amazing program actually.
Yeah, right.
And that's the route I took, and I took it way more serious than I thought I ever would, which kind of put law school on the back burner, because law school will still take 3 years before I can even start making money. I can start, I have started making money doing this business.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, I can always go back and study for the LSAT in the future, right? Bachelor's degree. So the idea here was to help people with their marketing by coaching through Grant Cardone programs, and do it in a way that won't cost them an arm and a leg like marketing companies tend to charge.
Yep.
How can they do it more affordably, more efficiently, and also become my own case study? So I was also very new to this thing. Even though I had some anecdotal experience, I want to show people that I can help them, but I can also do it myself, prove it. So now, if 1 million followers on TikTok wasn't enough, within 3 months, I was hitting, 4 months, I hit 20,000 followers on Facebook.
Goodness.
Let's see some other milestones. I built my own club every Tuesday where I help entrepreneurs come out, and I get between 10 and 12 people every single Tuesday that come in. I'm local organizers for my Chamber of Commerce as well. So, I've made a name for myself around here, kind of showing people that it's possible to become from nobody to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's where the business name I chose, Be Loud, came from. Did you watch Undercover Billionaire?
I've only seen a few outtakes from it.
Okay, so he founded a marketing company called Wake Up Pueblo.
Yeah.
I liked that. The name is a call to action. So I wanted something like that without ripping it off. So Be Loud came to mind. You got to be loud for people to know you. If they don't know you, like you said, they can't.
Right. Yeah.
To be seen, you got to be heard. To be heard, you got to be loud.
Yeah.
So that's where that inspiration came from, and I have since then been doing anything and everything I can to be not physically but metaphorically as loud as possible, so people just know who I am.
Wow.
Sure. My color, my brand colors are orange and yellow, so we're as loud as possible.
Absolutely. Love it. Wow. Okay. So what a journey. So I'm hearing so you fail. Most entrepreneurs, they fail at something. I was just thinking your journey through the insurance, and then taking a whole different approach and going to attorney and business, and then it ended up in marketing, and now with Grant Cardone, who's, the 3 things he's known for, marketing's one of them, so marketing and mindset and sales. But I was just thinking, as you were talking, I was like, man, this guy, I wonder if they would have said, yes, we'll promote you at Publix. Where would your life have gone? Have you thought about that ever?
I'd probably, I guess my hope by now, I would probably be a store manager making 6 digits, but super stressed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just interesting. I heard, Jamie Kern-Lima has another book coming out, and I haven't purchased the book. I'm not sure it's released yet. But in the book, she talks about, she's the one with cosmetics and stuff like that, kind of a big deal, where I think it was Revlon or whoever it is that purchased and bought it up. But anyway, so she made $1 billion was what she sold it for. But she has a quote in the book, and I saw her on the Ed Milet show, and she said that when somebody tells you no, what she learned was, she's a person of faith, and she said it was almost like God hid her brilliance from other people because it wasn't in alignment with what he wanted for her. And when you were like going this, like you got this, what was it, 3 times you went to try to get promoted at Publix and ended up back in deployment. And then, like you go for this and they won't let you have that. It's like, it's again, oh man, I went to be a recruiter and they loved me. And then the government shut down. It's just like, no, 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 no. So where does that put a person's spirit? I mean, like there's something that you had to overcome, I'm sure, in order to like try something new. I mean, because everything in your life, I mean, like I've got like a page and a half of notes of like these way more twists and turns than I ever thought that we were going to have on this show. But what caused you to like, okay, if I can't do that, I'll do this. If I can't do that, I'll do this. Like what was the motivator behind that? Where did you dig into to find that sense of courage or whatever to go forward again?
To be honest, I don't know. My wife tells me all the time that that's like one of her favorite features of me, that perseverance. If I had to put any event at all, I think it's my childhood. I don't think I had the best childhood in the world. It wasn't, I wasn't super neglected or anything. It just sucked. I wasn't watching everybody else around me have awesome things. My parents, yeah, I wish they were better parents, but they're my parents. Can't choose them, right?
Yeah, sure.
But the way that they acted is this is the hand I was dealt mentality. And that it's going to get passed down to me. And then there's nothing I can do to avoid that type of mentality. I have spent my entire life trying to prove them wrong. I think that's the core motivator, because I want to prove that wrong. I was never dealt the hand.
Wow. Well, for those of us on the outside looking in, that's pretty inspirational. It's inspirational to see somebody that, whatever the childhood was like. We started your story at 17. No doubt there's history, those first 16 years of formulating that core value or that core persona that I am going to do it. No, you can't put me down. I think for those that are watching the show right now, I have a lot of younger viewers in my audience, and they're the ones that they want to. They want to, and your story is so impactful. I was just thinking about, some of them that have asked me questions about this, that, and the other. I always close with a question, and I want to bring it up. I don't want to close it yet, but I want to bring it up. If you were going to advise a young person that's watching this right now, as far as, getting prepared for that journey. I mean, they feel it. They want to do something. Maybe it's that they want to prove somebody wrong, and maybe it's the kids in school that poked fun at them, or they weren't very popular, or maybe it's just to themselves. They want to prove something, that they can do this, that it can be done. What advice would you give them as far as getting going, preparing for that journey?
Well, one thing I hated more than anything is being tied down and having people tell me what I can and can't do. So maybe it's a personal mindset thing to be able to discern what you can actually do based on what, compared to what people say you can. One piece of advice I would give is don't be afraid to ask for help. Because there are, of my story, there are times where I completely would have fallen harder than I've ever fallen in the world if it wasn't for my wife. And it started, before she even knew who I was as a person. She saw I was in a time of need, and she picked me up. And I think without that one specific moment, I don't think I would be here, because I would have been, I would have been knocked out of the game so hard that, I couldn't recover. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Find that support system that believes in you. I think that's the biggest thing. They have to believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. Because if nobody else believes in you, they're not going to help you. First of all. And then in your time of need, when you need to lean on somebody, you got to have that one person that will always have your back. And for me, that's my wife, and I'm very grateful for her. So that's my advice. Don't be afraid to ask for help and find that special person who believes in you.
I love it. That I know will resonate with that younger audience that's viewing in right now to find that one person. And of course, I agree with you. My wife is my one person. She's the one that she's my bulldog on the front porch in many occasions. Like don't come attacking me because I can't control her. Like she's all friendly and everything, but you come attacking me or her kids, and that's the kind of thing. But she's the motivator for me. Like a lot of things that I didn't think I could do, she had. I think it's I like to call it borrowed belief. You're almost borrowing the belief that somebody else has in you until you've grown enough to have your own belief in yourself.
I like that.
Yeah,
even Grant did something like that. He says when you become an entrepreneur, you're going to lose yourself for a moment, and you're going to become somebody else until you find who you are, and then you'll become someone else.
That is so true. That is good, man. That's really good. And I enjoy the times that we get to share. We get to those that are watching this episode. David and I get to share a whole lot more time with other people that are like-minded, like-valued, like we are. And those are special moments to hear their stories, to be encouraged by them, to be equipped, some of the things. And that doesn't mean that we've got it all figured out right now. I know that I want to lean into David for webinars. I know that you just went through something like that here recently, and I think you said it best, perseverance. I mean, just keep going, even though I'm scared and no one's good the first time, that kind of thing. You just kind of keep on going through it. What do you think is of all the things that you've accomplished so far? What is the leading? What leads the pack? I mean, like this right now, so far, this I think is my proudest moment or my biggest achievement.
If we're talking about that, I would say the hearts and minds that I've won in my local community who believe in me. It started with just my wife who believes me, and now not only do other people believe in me, but they rely on me.
Wow.
Because I've put myself on, I wouldn't say I put myself on this narcissistic pedestal, but I put myself on a pedestal that says, I'm going to make it, but I'm bringing you with me type of idea. And if you want to make it too, just follow me type idea. And from there, it was a, kind of how 10X Stages is, win the hearts and minds of your audience.
Yeah.
And then they'll follow you to the depths.
That's so good. You mentioned a couple times about your local community, and I have, that's kind of a soft spot for me. So we have, we took 24,000 in our community, with about 7 other towns around us would make us probably about 35,000 within 40 miles or something like that. So it's relatively small, but we can be at the major metropolis, just like you, from Ocala to which way do you want to go? Do you want to go left or right down 75? We're going to go to Tampa, we're going to go to Orlando. I mean, you can go either way to big cities. But winning, I love what you said, winning the hearts and minds of those in your local community. How important is that?
It's a lot of social proof and authority. So it earns you that, if you will. So I'm at the point where when I go to this event called 1 Million Cups every single Wednesday. And 1 Million Cups, I think, is a fantastic event for any entrepreneur who's getting up, and I'm pretty sure it's in your city. So if it's not, it's in a city around you, and I would check it out. But 1 Million Cups, I used to go in there with the idea of trying to meet anybody and whoever walked in, and I did at first. I was making myself known, being as loud as possible. Now, today, I go there to show up, because I think, well, like Grant says, #1 rule of success is to show up. So I just show up, and people flock to me. So other people around are like, hey, you need to talk to that guy.
Yeah. And
I don't need to push myself as hard, because I showed up and I put in the time of networking. I got to know the key players, the people who show up every single day. So then when we have new people come in, I don't need to do all the work anymore, because people do it for me. I've provided so much value, so much free value even, that people, they have the need to want to pay me back by referring me.
Wow. And Until you ask, the answer's still no. Right?
Okay.
Until you ask for that referral, right? I've had to learn that lesson the hard way about, people do want to support you. When you bring them some joy, some satisfaction, some happiness, some whatever that they were wanting, you coach them to this victory, or you gave them those, man, I got 2,500 followers, I've never had that, that kind of thing, and they get the win. They do. You're like, yeah, but you have to ask. You have to ask for the referral, right? Because I'd love to do something for you, and all you got to do is ask. Yeah. But I think for entrepreneurs, it's difficult sometimes to just, all I got to do is ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for the referral. How does somebody, and guys, we're going to honor David's time today, even though it's Labor Day. He's working, man. He's got it plugged in today, and he's got a meeting that he's got to break away for. But how does somebody, if they wanted to work with you, what are some areas that you work with clients right now in your business?
Well, I used to go head first into coaching, but after spending a lot of time with the licensees in the 10X crew, people just don't want coaching, to be honest. They do, but they don't, because coaching can be such a broad word. It's scary even. Oh, this guy's going to hold me accountable. I want that. Is it sales coaching? Is it marketing coaching? Is it mindset coaching? Growth coaching? What I want to help you grow my business, or you're going to help me grow it. What does that even mean? So it's kind of intimidating. So what I did was I took that idea and I put coaching in the background. It's still there. It's never gone away. It's never going away. But what I'm going to do is I'm using coaching as a secondary tool, because what people want is sales and marketing.
Okay.
If I can give people sales and marketing, if I can hook them up with all of the tools, and their only problem in the world is getting them on the phone, closing them, pitching them. Once the marketing is done, now I have an entry into, hey, let me coach you on that. So instead of coming at from the start, this broad, I can help you grow your business, it's you're struggling with the close. Well, let me hop on. Work on that. And in the meantime, I still have, my sales and marketing is it makes money. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So it's an entrance to coaching rather than a subsidiary of coaching.
Yeah, I really like that approach, because just like Grant says, people don't buy price. They're not buying a price. They're buying a result. They want the result. Like, whatever the product's going to get, it's going to give something to them. And I think people want the results that they believe coaching can give, but they don't want to buy coaching. So to come in like, hey, you want to grow your marketing? Okay, great. Or we want to grow sales. Okay, great. And then when you get them into that mode, and now coaching is just a companion that goes alongside of it.
Yep.
Love that. Okay, so if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with David Dodge?
So I have a website, which I'll be revamping soon, but beloudcoach.com.
Okay.
So I am running my own SaaS agency called The Loudest, so it's a derivative of my company name. It's like Russell Brunson says, you need to have a clan name that people can relate to. So
right.
Leaders, they are all the loudest. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I provide marketing tools through High Level. And if anybody's not in High Level and you're an entrepreneur, that's something that you really should get into. So if you know anybody who has a High Level agency, dive in. But I have mine called The Loudest, and you can I have a leads program which helps generate leads, and you can find that through leads.beloudcoach.com, and I can give you a quick sample, show you how it works, and get you on the road to sales and marketing.
Yeah. And guys, this is from a guy who's done it. I mean, like the great success you've had from TikTok, from Facebook, from other social media platforms. That's pretty remarkable. David, thank you so much for allowing us to spend some time just kind of hearing your story. And I think that your story is a moving story. And I never know coming into a call what the depth is going to be. Are we going to be high energy, high octane, but really superficial? Or are we going to just kind of go deep? And today, I think we went deep. So thank you for that.
I appreciate
that very, very much. And by the way, guys, thank you for joining us on this call and for following TMC Coaching and the Collaborative Entrepreneur. You can learn more about me and what I do at tmccoaching.org. If you'd like to know what I can do for you and how we might be able to work together, you can hit me up at Tracy at tmccoaching.org. So guys, until next time, I would encourage you, find people like David Dodge. Find David Dodge. We've already given you the way that you can connect with him, but find people like David Dodge, people that you can surround yourself with that can inspire you. They can inspire and even motivate you to dig deep within yourself and do more of what you'd like to do. So until next time, this is us signing off from the Collaborative Entrepreneur. We'll see you next time.
On behalf of Tracy and myself, thank you for watching this episode of the Collaborative Entrepreneur. Want to be a guest on the podcast? Well, you can do so by emailing Gavin at tmccoaching.org. Be sure to include the industry that you're in, any lessons, learns, and experiences that you've gained along the way. Want to work with Tracy in a different way? Well, you can do so by any of the different businesses popping up on screen. Links for all of these will be in the description, guys. We look forward to seeing you guys on the next podcast episode, released every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So until next time, guys, let's win together.